The Research Our Land, Our Life Participatory Assessment and Geographic Database of Indigenous Peoples' Land Tenure in Guyana was conducted by the Amerindian Peoples Association APA and also included 49 local Indigenous researchers. It reveals findings gathered from Indigenous villages in regions 1, 2, 7, 8, and 9. The research commenced in 2012 after funding became available from the European Union and the United States Department for International Development, while technical support was provided by the Forest Peoples Program and the Rainforest Foundation US. Executive Director of the APA, Jean LaRose, said after they received numerous complaints from villages about not fully understanding the documentation for their lands, the APA felt it was pertinent to do the research.
People may have anecdotal and people may have a knowledge. They remain sometimes with the individual, they remain sometimes with the elders, but they were never passed on in some cases, or they were never heard collectively by the people. So the need to have the information documented became more important as the years passed, and the leadership of the communities recognized this. So behind engaging in the tenure assessment activities was to record the various land tenure situation of selected Indigenous communities so they could fully understand their situations, use it to clarify their positions with regard to their lands and territories. The reports would also serve as documents that would be passed on to succeeding leaders and other interested persons.
The research will now serve as a record to represent issues Indigenous villages face when it comes to their lands. The majority of the participating villages reported having conflicts over their lands. Key findings from the research include a lack of protection and recognition for Indigenous peoples' customary tenure systems and failure to recognize collective territories. According to APA's Governance and Rights Coordinator, Laura George, as far back as 1969, Indigenous people recommended to the Amerindian Lands Commission that their customary lands be protected.
Customary lands mean that it's our customary tenure and how we use and manage our lands. For example, the resources we use are shared by several villages within a territory. To hunt, to fish, to farm, to gather resources, and we also are able to protect our waterways and sacred grounds. Now, the failure to recognize collective territories of Indigenous peoples mean that it is also then a violation of our rights.
Recommendations from the research include a revised Amerindian Act that will include international standards for the protection of Indigenous peoples' rights. Meanwhile, the PPPC government has budgeted $630 million in this year's budget to expedite the process of Indigenous land titling. The Amerindian land titling process was facilitated by the Amerindian Act of 2006 that provided for land titling and extensions. It was reported that of the 68 interventions identified, 21 demarcations have been completed and 18 certificates of titles issued, while 45 investigations were completed, 32 for extensions and 13 for new villages. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwo.